subconsciously does something different to what we're saying, and it can often give across a different message. So I hope that kind of makes sense. As to a little quick summary, Chapter 1 is Mastering the Secrets of Nonverbal Communication. It states, whenever I'm teaching people about body language, this question is invariably asked. Joe, what got you so interested in studying nonverbal behavior? It wasn't something I had planned to do, nor was it the result of some long-term fascination with the topic. It was much more down to earth than that. It was an interest born of necessity, the need to adapt successfully to a totally new way of life. When I was 8 years old, I came to America as an exile from Cuba. We just left a few months ago after the Bay of Pigs invasion, and we honestly thought we would only be here for a short while as refugees. Unable to speak English at first, I did what thousands of other immigrants coming to this country have done. I quickly learned that to fit in with my new classmates at school, I needed to be aware of and sensitive to the other language around me, the language of nonverbal behavior. I found that it was a language I could translate and understand immediately. In my young mind, I saw the human body as a kind of billboard that advertised what a person was thinking via gestures, facial expressions, and physical movements that I could read. Over time, obviously, I learned English and even lost some skill with the Spanish language, but the nonverbals I never forgot. I discovered at an early age that I could always rely on nonverbal communications. I learned to use body language to decipher what my classmates and teachers were trying to communicate to me and how they felt about me. One of the first things I noticed was that students or teachers who genuinely liked me would raise or arch their eyebrows when they first saw me walk into the room. On the other hand, those individuals who weren't too friendly toward me would squint their eyes slightly when I appeared, a behavior that once observed is never forgotten. I use this nonverbal information, as so many other immigrants have, quickly to evaluate and develop friendships, to communicate despite the obvious language barrier, to avoid enemies, and in nurturing healthy relationships. Many years later, I would use the same nonverbal eye behaviors to solve crimes as a special agent at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. Based on my background, education, and training, I want to teach you to see the world as an FBI expert on nonverbal communications, as a vivid, dynamic environment where every human interaction resonates with information and is an opportunity to use the silent language of the body to enrich your knowledge of what people are thinking, feeling, and intending to do. Using this knowledge will help you stand out among others. It will also protect you and give you previously hidden insight into human behavior. Alright, continuing. What exactly is nonverbal communication? Nonverbal communication, often referred to as nonverbal behavior or body language, is a means of transmitting information, just like the spoken word, except it is achieved through facial expressions, gestures, physical movements, posture, body adornment, and even the tone and volume of an individual's voice. Nonverbal communication can also reveal a person's true thoughts, feelings, and intentions. For this reason, nonverbal behaviors are sometimes referred to as tells. They tell us about the person's true state of mind. Because people are not always aware they are communicating nonverbally, body language is often more honest than an individual's verbal pronouncements, which are consciously crafted to accomplish the speaker's objectives. Pretty much what we were talking about in the beginning of the video. Whenever your observation of another person's nonverbal behavior helps you understand that person's feelings, intentions, or actions, or clarifies his or her spoken words, then you have successfully decoded and used the silent medium. Using nonverbal behavior to enhance your life. It has been well established by researchers that those who can effectively read and interpret nonverbal communication and manage how others perceive them will enjoy greater success in life than individuals who lack this skill. It is the goal of this book to teach you how to observe the world around you and to determine the meaning of nonverbals in any setting. This powerful knowledge will enhance your personal interactions and enrich your life, as it has mine. One of the fascinating things about an appreciation for nonverbal behaviors is its universal applicability. It works everywhere humans interact. Nonverbals are ubiquitous and reliable. Once you know what a specific nonverbal behavior means, you can use that information in any number of different circumstances and in all types of environments. In fact, it is difficult to interact effectively without nonverbals. If you ever wondered why people still fly to meetings in the age of computers, text messages, emails, telephones, and video conferencing, it is because of the need to express and observe nonverbal communications in person. Nothing beats seeing the nonverbals up close and personal. Why? Because nonverbals are powerful. Whatever you learn from this book, you will be able to apply to any situation, in any setting. Mastering nonverbal communications requires a partnership. I am convinced that any person possessing normal intelligence can learn to use nonverbal communication to better themselves. I know this because for the past 2 decades, I have taught thousands of people just like you how to successfully decode nonverbal behavior and use that information to enrich their lives, the lives of their loved ones, and to achieve their personal and professional goals. Accomplishing this, however, requires that you and I establish a working partnership, each contributing something of significance to our mutual effort. Following the 10 Commandments for observing and decoding nonverbal communications successfully. Reading people successfully, collecting nonverbal intelligence to assess their thoughts, feelings, and intentions is a skill that requires constant practice and proper training. To help you on the training side, I want to provide you with some important guidelines or commandments to maximize your effectiveness in reading nonverbals. As you incorporate these commandments into your everyday life and make them part of your routine, they soon will become second nature to you, needing little, if any, conscious thought. Commandment 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Commandment 1. Be a competent observer of your environment. This is the most basic requirement for anyone wishing to decode and use nonverbal communications. Imagine the foolishness of trying to listen to someone with plugins in our ears. We couldn't hear the message, and whatever was said would be lost on us. Thus, most intent listeners don't go around wearing earplugs. Yet when it comes to seeing the silent of nonverbal behavior, many viewers might as well be wearing blindfolds, as oblivious as they are to body signals around them. Consider this. Just as careful listening is critical to understanding our verbal pronouncements, so careful observation is vital to comprehending body language. Whoa, don't just breeze past that sentence and continue. Reading what it states is critical. Concerted, effortful observation is absolutely essential to reading people and detecting their nonverbal tells successfully. The problem is that what most people spend their lives looking, but not truly seeing, or as Sherlock Holmes, the meticulous English detective, declared to his partner, Dr. Watson, you see, but you do not observe, 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 observe. Sadly, the majority of individuals view their surroundings with a minimal amount of observational effort. Such people are oblivious to subtle changes in our world. They are unaware of the rich tapestry of details that surrounds them, such as the subtle movements of a person's hand or foot that might betray his thoughts or intentions. In fact, various scientific studies have demonstrated to be poor observers of the world. For example, when a man dressed in a gorilla suit walked in front of a group of students while other activities were taking place, half the students didn't even notice the gorilla in their midst. Observation impoverished individuals lack what airline pilots refer to as situational awareness, which is a sense of where one is at all times. They don't have a solid mental picture of what exactly is going on around them or even in front of them. Ask them to go into a strange room filled with people. Give them a chance to look around, and then tell them to close their eyes and report what they saw. You would be astounded by their inability to recall even the most obvious features in the room. I find it disheartening how often we run into somebody or read about someone who always seems to be blindsided by life's events. The complaints of these individuals are nearly always the same. My wife just filed for divorce. I never had a clue she was unhappy with her marriage. The guidance counselor tells me my son has been using cocaine for 3 years. I had no idea he had a drug problem. I was arguing with this guy and out of nowhere he sucker punched me. I never saw it coming. I thought the boss was pretty happy with my job performance. I had no idea I was going to be fired. These are the kinds of statements made by men and women who have never learned how to observe the world around them effectively. Such inadequacies are not surprising, really. After all, as we grow from children to adults, we're never instructed on how to observe the nonverbal cues of others. There are no classes in elementary school, high school, or college that teach people situational awareness. If you're lucky, you teach yourself to be more observant. If you don't, you miss out on an incredible amount of useful information that could help you avoid problems and make your life more fulfilling, be it when dating, at work, or with family. Fortunately, observation is a skill that can be learned. We don't have to go through life being blindsided. Furthermore, because it is a skill, we can get better at it with the right kind of training and practice. If you are observationally challenged, do not despair. You can overcome your weakness in this area if you are willing to devote time and effort to observing your world more conscientiously. What you need to do is make observation, concerted observation, a way of life. Becoming aware of the world around you is not a passive act. It is a conscious, deliberate behavior, something that takes effort, energy, and concentration to achieve, and constant practice to maintain. Observation is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use and atrophies without use. Exercise your observation muscle, and you will become a more powerful decoder of the world around you. By the way, when I speak of concerted observation, I am asking you to utilize all your senses, not just your sense of sight. Whenever I walk into my apartment, I take a deep breath. If things don't smell normal, I become concerned. One time I detected a slight odor of lingering cigarette smoke when I returned home from a trip. My nose alerted me to possible danger well before my eyes could scan my apartment. It turned out that the apartment maintenance man had been by to fix a leaky pipe. The smoke on his clothes and skin were still lingering in the air several hours later. Fortunately, he was a welcome intruder, but there could just as easily been a burglar lurking in there could just as easily have been a burglar lurking in the next room. The point is, by using all of my senses, I was better able to assess my environment and contribute to my own safety and well-being. Commandment 2:2:2. Observing in context is key to understanding nonverbal behavior. When trying to understand nonverbal behavior in real-life situations, the more you understand the context in which it takes place, the better you will be in understanding what it means. For example, after a traffic accident, I expect people to be in shock and to walk around looking dazed. I expect their hands to shake and even for them to make poor decisions like walking into oncoming traffic. This is why officers ask for you to stay in your car. Why? After an accident, people are suffering the effects of a complete hijacking of the thinking brain by the region of the brain known as the limbic system. The result of this hijacking includes behaviors such as trembling, disorientation, nervousness, and discomfort. In context, these actions are to be expected and confirm the stress from the accident. During a job interview, I expect applicants to be nervous initially and for that nervousness to dissipate. If it shows up again when I ask specific questions, then I have to wonder why these nervous behaviors have suddenly presented again. Commandment number 3. Learn to recognize and decode nonverbal behaviors that are universal. Symbolic behaviors are considered universal because they are exhibited similarly by most people. For instance, when people press their lips together in a manner that seems to make them disappear, it is a clear and common sign that they are troubled and something is wrong. This nonverbal behavior, known as lip compression, is one of the universal tells that I will be describing in the chapters to follow. The more of these universal nonverbals you can recognize and accurately interpret, the more effective you will be in assessing the thoughts, feelings, and intentions of those around you. 4. Learn to recognize and decode idiosyncratic nonverbal behaviors. Universal nonverbal behaviors constitute one group of body cues, those that are relatively the same for everyone. There is a second type of body cue called an idiosyncratic nonverbal behavior, which is a signal that is relatively unique to a particular individual. In attempting to identify idiosyncratic signals, you'll want to be on the lookout for behavioral patterns in people that you interact with on a regular basis, such as family, friends, co-workers, persons who provide goods or services to you on a consistent basis, particularly if the impending action could cause harm to you or others. Commandment number 8. Learning to detect false or misleading nonverbal signals is also critical. Commandment 10. When observing others, be subtle about it. Using nonverbal behavior requires you to observe people carefully. However, one thing you don't want to do when observing others is to make your intentions obvious. Many individuals tend to stare at people when they first try to spot nonverbal cues. Such intrusive observation is not advisable. Your ideal goal is to observe others without their knowing it. In other words, unobtrusively. Work at perfecting your observational skills, and you will reach such a point where your efforts will be both successful and subtle. It's all a matter of practice and persistence. You have now been introduced to your part of partnership, the 10 commandments you need to follow to decode nonverbal communication successfully. The question now becomes, what nonverbal behavior should I be looking for? And what important information do they look at the magnificent organ, the human brain, and show how it governs every facet of our body language? For whom the tells toll. On a faithful date in 1963 in Cleveland, Ohio, 39-year veteran Detective Martin McFadden watched two men walk back and forth in front of a store window. They took turns peeking into the shop and then walking away. After multiple passes, the two men huddled at the end of the street, looking over their shoulders as they spoke to a third person, concerned that the men were casing the business and attempting to rob the store. The detective moved in, patted down one of the men, and found a concealed handgun. Detective McFadden arrested the three men. Then the three men, thus thwarting a robbery and averting potential loss of life. Officer McFadden's detailed observations became the basis for a landmark U.S. Supreme Court case. Decision Terry v. Ohio, 1968, 392 U.S. 1. Known to every police officer in the United States. Since 1968, this ruling has allowed police officers to stop and frisk individuals without a warrant when their behaviors telegraph their intention to commit a crime. With this decision, the Supreme Court acknowledged that nonverbal behaviors presage criminality if those behaviors are observed and decoded properly. Terry v. Ohio provided a clear demonstration of the relationship between our thoughts, intentions, and nonverbal behaviors. Most important, this decision provided legal recognition that such a relationship exists and is valid. So, the next time someone says to you that the nonverbal behavior does not have meaning or is not reliable, remember this case as it says otherwise and has stood the test of time. Okay guys, that's the end of chapter 1. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see more videos similar to this one. And yeah. hope you get some rest.